Welcome back, and let's move on to the next character. In this episode, I will talk about money, which is what overcomes. And in this episode, I will also explain that why finding a girl is hard for somebody and easy for somebody else. Because in the fortune telling theory, money represents wife. So, in the perspective of fortune-telling theory, men with heavy money character usually don't have the problem of showing affections. So this is the character that make you easier to find a girlfriend, especially gambler. So money includes gambler and collector. So gambler men are more famous for being casavivas. So the description of gambler is bold, adventurous, realistic, and generous in using money. So if you have problem getting along with women, that is how you should change yourself. In movies, the best girl usually fall in love with a determined, sincere, and different, which is another word to say a subjective guy. But this kind of men usually have trouble of getting girls in real life because according to the interaction of the 10 characters, big ego character, in another word, strengthening characters, which would make the self code stronger, shield and strength are on the opposite of money because of money represents wife, so those are the factors that makes you difficult to find a girlfriend. First, I will explain why shield and the strength are at the opposite of money. And like yin is the exact opposite of yang, and yang is exact opposite of yin. There are five sets of characters, and like a five-pointed star, there are 2 points at the opposite side of every 1 point. So let's see a picture. This is a star. Which point is at the opposite of this point of the star? So we can see there are two, this one and this one, and so for all the other points. For every 1 point, there are two at the opposite of it. Where are we? So every character, we can say they have two opposite characters. For example, we said the shield and strength are on the opposite of money because money overcomes shield and strength overcomes money. So they are both considered at the opposite of money. By the way, shield represents mother and money represents father. So spending more time with your dad would help you get more dates, and vice versa. Spend more time with your mother would increase your problem with girls. A person's marriage is indicated by his spouse position, which is the zodiac date position, because the date column represents you. The self code, which is the decimal date position, represents yourself. So the zodiac date position is the other half. So being a nerd doesn't necessarily cause you unable to find a girlfriend. The important thing is to have the right thing at the right place. Brad Pitt's has a lot of ow. That's uh, that's what we say. He is a party of a nerd, but he has a gambler at the spouse position, so he has no problem with women. So let me remind you. This is the spouse position, and this is gambler. He has the gambler at the spouse position, so we can say that he has the right thing at the right place, which is why being a nerd didn't stop him from getting girls. So men who are unable to find a girlfriend usually have problems with their money character and spouse position. Let's see some example. First one is Isaac Newton. As we know, he's never married in his entire life. Newton has a typical talent and shield structure. So he has one, two, three, four talents and taken the command. Ribble is taken the command, and two shield. And one judge is here. The only character he has, which is not talent or nor shield, is this seven judge, but it has been crushed by an adjacent one. So this judge is useless. So basically, he has a shield and talent structure, and his talent is much more stronger than shield. In such a structure, money is no needed because money would jeopardize the structure by overcoming his already not favored shield. And as we can see, Newton has no money in his life code, which is why he has no growth in his life. And because money, if there's any money, is served as foe, which is why Newton didn't feel the need of women at all. Uh, and this paragraph is to say why Newton is issueless, because this column represents his offsprings. And the next example is Friedrich Nietzsche. Uh, Money serves as favor for Nietzsche because his slaughter has no root and too weak. Slaughter is weakening character, and comrade is strengthening character. Because his comrade is much stronger than the slaughter. Remember, the basal character has 100 power level, and the front line character, if it has no root, it only works for 30 power level, which is why the slaughter need the support from money, because money would grow authority. Because money would serve Nietzsche as a favor, Nietzsche feels a need of women, physically and psychologically. Nietzsche's problem was having a bad time. After the third step of his fortune, this is the fortune line. We haven't talked about it yet, but uh, I will give it. I will just say it right now. When Nietzsche started to feel the need of women, he has no money, but a lot of he had no money, but a lot of comrade and pirate in his fortune, which would overcome money. Because strength serve as foe, so he broke up with his good friends. Strength represents friends and siblings, because strength is something like you, something you know, because something the same as the self code, which is why it represents fellow buddies, siblings, because it serves as foe. And then he broke up with his good friend in his strength fortune and lost his virginity to a hooker, got this disease, and finally lost his mind. And then is Beethoven. Beethoven had three gourmet in the basal line. 1, 2, 3, this 3, 1. To vent his anger hardly, because gourmet we know that's releasing. Maybe we can say release his emotion. His character was unique and extreme because basal gourmet discharged harder than anything. Talent is something discharge me, and gourmet is a same-sex discharging or releasing. Same-sex reaction is harder than different sex reaction. So nothing release harder than basal gourmet, because basal code is stronger than the frontline code. And his life code was rooted strong on Blade. Blade means this pirate. This pirate can also called Blade. If in the other agent section we didn't talk about it. If his commander character, which is this position, was a gourmet again, the emotion discharge will be bigger, but there won't be so much power to be discharged. So such a life code make Beethoven a passionate and heroic people, able to create magnificent music. Beethoven had no money in his frontline characters and the basal line characters. He has three money characters in his hidden line, because three is wood, but it also contains fire, and Beethoven had fire as his money. So because he has multiple money in the hidden line, he loved a lot of women, and he didn't want to make his relation known to the public. However, money is underbeaten in this life code. He has fire as money, and fire was within the drain of the blade water. Whenever money comes out, the pirate will beat them down into tombs. Women, which is why women rather marry other men than the great musician, because they are afraid of Beethoven's anger and they don't want to stay hidden with him. And we come to the last example, Hans Christian Andersen. H.C. Andersen, the famous Danish author and poet, also never known, also has never known marriage in his life. He came up with thousands, no, hundreds of heartwarming fairy tales and left the loneliness to himself. Some records say that he refused to have sexual relations, therefore somebody suspect that he was a gay. Beethoven's have three chords merge and become a shield, which made Shield stronger than Gourmet, and making Gourmet the favor. Money is no need in such structure because it would discharge Gourmet's power because Gourmet is the favor. Beethoven has no money in his life code. And actually the four examples, all of these four has no money in his frontline character and baseline character. So Beethoven has almost, where are we? Andersen. Andersen has metal serve as his money because he is fire. He has a self code 4. 4 is fire. That fire overcomes metal. Andersen has metal serve as his money. His life code has almost no money, only a little bit contained in 2 in the year column. Year column represents your young age before 16. Concealed in the year column tombs for his whole life. That girl's name is a Danish name, a young love of Beethoven's youth. A small pouch, a small piece of silk contained a long letter from her was found on Andersen's chest when he died. So only a little bit money inside his life code and represents this girl. Other than wife, money also means, well, money, which means getting laid, and making money is actually the same thing. So money people are more likely to be successful in the business world too, which is why money represents success. That is why we see typical entrepreneurs, businessmen are usually bold, realistic, adventurous, but also vulgar and lack of spiritual pursuit, because that's a description of a gambler. So, so that means in this episode, I'm not only going to show you how to get a girl, I'm also going to show you how to be successful in the perspective of a fortune tell theory. So let's learn money by comparing it with a shield. Before we go any further, let's review the interactions between the 10 characters. So 10 characters first, so we can see how two characters can be opposite. So just like the 5 element, as we know, as we have learned, the 5 groups of characters also have the support, or we can say grow, generate, and overcome interactions. The interactions of a character is not a new rule, it is an inference of 5 element interactions. So because breaking character down to element, you'll find that 2 rules are the same thing. For example, if the self code is wood, so talent, fire serve as talent, and metal serve as authority. We can say that talent overcomes authority, or we can say fire overcomes metal. It is the same thing. The 10 character interaction is a basic rule with no reason, but it makes a lot of sense if we think about it. So first, let's look at generating interactions. First, shield, support, strength. Being conservative, we can understand it because being conservative makes people ego. Strength is your ego because it's the same as the self-code. And the shield, like we have discussed, is being conservative. And strength supports talent, and we can understand because ego people are prone to show off. The more ego you are, the more the more desire to show off. And the talent supports money. And dreamers are driven to do something to achieve their dreams. Talent means dream, and money means achieve, to do something. And money supports authority. The more you are involved into the world, the more you have to compromise yourself. Maybe that's hard to understand, but it's like the more money you have, the more you are not the more you are doing things, the more you are not doing it for yourself. You have to take responsibilities. I mean, if you're a boss, you are not only working for yourself. And authority supports shield. People under pressure are prone to be conservative. We know that authority is pressure, and the more pressure you have, the more conservative you become. And then we see the overcoming interreactions. Money overcomes shield. People who do the actual work don't have the vision and the mindset to do theory study because money represents do and shield represents think or plan. Shield overcomes talent. Logical thinking restrains people's imagination and lower people's desire because talent is releasing emotion, which is why it represents imagination and desires. Talent overcomes authority. Releasing is the most powerful thing against pressure. That's very easy to understand because talent is release. It's something I grow. That means it releases me. And authority is pressure. If you release yourself, then you don't have the pressure. And authority overcomes strength. Self-disciplined people discipline themselves. Strength is yourself. It's because it's the same thing as the ego. It's the same thing as the self-code. And discipline is the authority. If you discipline yourself, then you put pressure on yourselves. And strength overcomes money because strength is a competing, is a fighting mentality. And fighting and struggling alone won't make you a successful businessman because doing business is not about fighting or competing. It's about helping other people or cooperating. So we have reviewed that. You should have an idea that which is on the opposite side and which is on the grow each other's. Although that Hylas, this is a Greek philosopher, proved that philosophers can make money if they want to, for some based on some knowledge that other people don't have. Fortune tell suggests that the scholar type of person shouldn't do business work because shield is on the other side of money. I mean, the more shield you have, the less money. The stronger your shield, the weaker your money, and vice versa. The stronger your money, the weaker your shield. If you're scholar type, which is represented by shield, then you shouldn't do business thing. As the opposite, which is suggested by fortune telling theory. So as the opposite, money and shield are indeed different in many ways. Money people are realistic and like to do, and shield people value a spiritual life and like to think. Money people are cheeky, bold, and adventurous, and shield people are cautious, conservative, and sensitive to their reputations. Many people have high level addictions and focus more on the outer beauty. And the shield people are more self controlling and like to keep a plain style because they believe more in the inner beauty. Shield people usually interested in fortune tell and they want to know why fortune telling works. They are interested in that part. But many people are superstitious. They don't interested in why. They just want to know if the fortune are good for them. That's something I found. I mean, if I was talking money people about fortune telling, they are not interested in why I say so. They only wants to know, just tell me if my fortune is good or not. Don't tell me the mechanism of fortune telling. So despite all the difference, shield and money people have one thing in common, which is they are both natural psychologists because they put themselves in other people's places. The difference is shield is something that supports me. Me as the self code. Shield is something that grows the self code. So I, which is the self code, am the passive one. And the other side, and the other code is the initiative side. Uh, so shield people make conservative consumption assumptions. Money means I overcome. I, which is the I overcome, because money is the self code overcome. The self code, which is I, am the advantaged side, which is why many people are adventurous and bored, because they speculate the thought of others offensively, as the opposite of a shield, speculate other people's thought defensively or using the worst case scenario. For example, when doing business, shield people would assume that the customer is not going to buy, and money would make people assume the customer is going to buy because they put themselves at the advantage side. Or when trying to date a girl, shield people will assume that he would bother the girl because he make conservative assumptions. Many people will assume that a girl needs the phone call from him. So that's the offensively, that's put himself at the advantage side, at the active side. So a shield is a conservative and cautious mentality, like we have been discussed in the shield section in that episode. Shield people are thinkers because the other way to say the word cautious is think too much. And if you think too much, that means you're cautious. They like to wait for the first move. They like to wait for the other people to do the first move so they can make the right decision. Having a cautious attitude is good in the labs or when driving, but business is another game. It's a gambler's game. The nature of business owner is gambler because business owner trade uncertainty with certainty. Normal people would buy safety or like buy insurance. Business owner use money to trade risk. I mean, uh, they trade uncertainty with certainty because the cost. If you are doing business, you will have cost. The cost is a certainty, and the return is an uncertainty. If you are willing to trade uncertainty with certainty, that means you are suitable for the, business world. So, how to win in a gambler's world? There is a secret rule I am about to show you. So now I'm going to show you how to be successful. Actually, countless books are published to discuss this hot topic, how to be successful. Most of them have some good points, but they can't really help you. For example, this is Michael Jordan said, I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I have been trusted to take a game winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded. Well, that's a nice speech by Michael Jordan, but that not really helpful, isn't that? I mean, I could miss more shots than him, and actually, lots of basketball players did miss more shots than him, but that won't necessarily make me another Michael Jordan, isn't it? So that's not the real condition to be successful. So most book regarding success analyzes win and loss cases, win and lose cases with a hindsight. You win because you made the right decision, you lost because you made the wrong decision, or they say you win because we win because of this and you lose because of this. The real $1 million question is how to make the right decision when you don't know what is right. Isn't it, right? The secret rule was actually among the military generals in the cold weapon age of China. The rule is when you're facing a 50-50 choice, which is you don't know what is right, the risky one would lead you to win. Some may say that famous militarist Sun Tzu said otherwise. The victorious strategy only seek a battle after the victory has been won. But I think the book Art of War was actually talking about politics there, and that this it doesn't work because you think you're gonna win. That is why you pick a fight, and he think he's going to win, and that is why he is uh, starting. He accept your fight. So there's still how to make the right decision when you don't know what is right. Nobody actually really know what is actually right. Politics, back to the topic, politics is a different game. It requires cautious and careful deliberations. And I've said that the business world or this rule said in the war in the battlefield, the risky plan would lead you to win. I can show you examples of people lost the wars not because they did anything wrong, but because they didn't take the risk. I rather not. I won't do that because most of my readers are not familiar with Chinese history. My point is, the ancient rule is still working in the modern day business world. For example, mobile giant Nokia was defeated not because they did anything wrong, but they chose not to take risks when they should have. In another word, if you see companies that make real successes, it is better to say that they bet blindly and win accidentally rather than that they make the right decision. Because when they were making it, they didn't know what if it is the right decision. If they know, then everybody would make that decision. Toyota, for example, Toyota is a successful company because it is good at producing fuel-efficient cars. But save on gas was not a popular idea until the OPEC raised the oil price in the 1970s and the early 1980s. I'm sure lots of people remember that. Before that age, gas was very cheap. When that happened, American consumers was forced to looking for fuel-efficient cars. When another company had to change their strategy in a sudden, Toyota has the advantage because they happened to be good at that area for a long time, which is why they made the success. Next example, the MP3 format music become popular because the cable TV company upgraded the network in a large scale, large enough to support the widespread of MP3. And the cable TV company only did that because they want to add more channels to rival some new satellite TV companies, such as Dish Network and DirecTV. In another word, there is no way to oversee that incident, to oversee that the sudden increase of the family network bandwidth. So as far as Apple could see, iPod was a risky bet. As far as they could see at the time, iPod was a risky bet, but they did it anyway. And that is how they make the success because nobody else is doing it. Apple's products are always the same style. As we know that they always do their own system. They never compatible with other companies' product. You can't install Windows into your Apple. You may say that that is why Apple is so successful. But in the 90s, in the 80s, Apple was not successful, but they chose to stay on their way and carry on. And that is how they make their success. Actually, when Steve Jobs first wanted to form a company, his partner, Steve Wozniak, reasonably predicted that the new company cannot make money. That's a reasonable prediction. Jobs said, yes, we would lose money, but at least we would have a company. So my point is, Jobs' success was not carefully calculated. He started a business only because he wanted to, and that is how he made the success. Nowadays, when we talk about this is our last example. Nowadays, when we talk about Bill Gates' success, we would say that Gates took the opportunity of the rapid development of software because he has a vision of the future. So we say that because he success because he predict the future. But the truth is, the only reason that Bill Gates chose the software because technically he wasn't good enough to compete with other computer genius at his time in the most popular area at that time, which is hardware development. So, in other words, when Bill Gates was first joining the computer business, most people were competing in the hardware development area. However, with time flies, the nature of the industry changed. Bill Gates was left it in the less preferred area, and he kept on doing. So when the fortune arrived, less people was there to compete with him, and that is how he made the success. So those are the four or maybe three examples I made. Examples I made above may be not enough to prove any argument because those are examples, not provement. But there are real researches. Two scientists, Dominic D.P. Johnson and James H. Flower, Fowler has developed a math model to prove that overconfident decisions have the higher chance to lead you to wins than absolute rational decisions. This paper was published on the Nature magazine. So there's a math model to prove that being overconfident make you win more. That so proved the rules that the risky decision make you win. So I know the paper, but I never read it because I never read it because the math give me a headache. I'm not good at math. If you don't like to look at math as well, there are still ways to figure it out. So the two scientists, they used a mathematic method to just prove this argument, but I can use just some simple word. Let me put it this way. We go back to Michael Jordan. What is his real secret? Of course, not. Uh, I mean, miss 9,000 shots because other people can miss 9,000 shots as well. I think this is his secret. When a player is taking the buzz beater is the last shot in the game. It is reasonable to assume that he has a big chance to miss that shot, according to numbers. Some players blindly believe that they are going to make it, although it is a wrong idea. Of course, it is wrong. Nobody can take 100 shot and make 100, but they have better chance to actually make it by thinking in like that. So the real secret of Jordan's success is overconfidence. He doesn't think he was going to fail. So come to the conclusion. The conclusion is the right decision maybe just doesn't exist. The so-called right decisions are made based on experience and can only work in a mature or static system. Static means nothing is moving. However, man versus man games are ever changing because if you follow a rule for sure, everybody know how to defeat you. I mean, if you can defeat five people and other people know what you're gonna do, they're gonna do is gather six people and defeat you. And you can always think like this: what if he knows? What if he know that I knows? What if he know I know he know that I know he knows? So I say that because I want to prove that there is no right decision. There always mm, something that when you're making the decisions, there you can't be sure what is the right decision. Once the reason for success could fail completely next time. For example, what is the most popular movie right now? No matter what it is, you make the same one, you are going to fail for sure. So there is really nothing you can learn from the successful people except the attitude to keep trying, and that is what money is about. So next paragraph. So it actually comes down to a very popular slogan. To achieve something, the first step is to believe you can do it. Yes, you can talk to the mirror and say you are awesome, you can do it. This is self-suggestion. But self-suggestion doesn't work most of the time because you know you're talking to yourself. You know you're lying to yourself. I mean, if you're talking to the mirror, if you say to yourself, "Don't be nervous," and it works, then nobody would be nervous, right? We know that what makes people confident. A person will feel confident if he wins all the time. And how money makes people confident is about the same, but a building mechanism. Many people are winner to themselves. As we learned, character is how a person recognizes himself, and how he see himself is how he see the world. Money is the self-code overcomes another code, so the ego is the winner. If the self-code is the winner, is the one who overcomes others, which will make the person have a sense of advantage when he communicates with himself. Therefore, the confidence of money is formed from the inside out. So if he has a sense of advantage when he communicates with himself, he would have a sense of advantage when he dealing with the world, when he deal with the world. And that would give him an overconfidence and make him success. So when I was young, about 10, 12, I was very confident that I can be successful in doing business because I thought doing business is a battle of ideas. That's what we can see. But what we can't see is, doing business is about doing. It's about keep doing. I believed I was very good at thinking differently. Now looking back, I realized I was wrong because I misunderstood the nature of business. As I wrote, doing business is not about thinking, because thinking is cautious. When a customer say I need to think about it, that means no. So, just like getting a girl, the most important thing in doing business is not the perfect plan, but focus and persistent. Choose to do something and keep on doing. Things will happen when you do the same thing 1,000 times. Therefore, people with too many ideas, people who like to take shortcuts, and people who hold back and play safe are not suitable for doing business. As we know, playing safe is what a shield is about. Focus on the goal is a condition of doing business. Focus on the goal. It sounds easy, but it is not. It means putting your mind on nothing else but your goals to put out your everything, such as making money or getting the girl. For example, if getting the girl is the goal, I don't want to call her because calling would make me look bad. But how I look is unconcerned to the goal, isn't it? So in that case, I was focusing on something else than the goal. So which is sometimes we think we are focusing on the goal, but we are actually focusing on ourselves. And focusing on ourselves is not focusing on the goal. Money is something I overcome again. I'm repeating the true form of this character. Money is something I overcome, which is the goal. Many people are restless doer because do means accomplish. Same thing as overcome. I overcome also means I accomplish. Overcome also means I do. Money is a practical character. In another word, many people have a low interest in impractical things. That's the definition of practical. We have the definition for money, which is practical. And what is practical? Practical is not interested in the impractical things. On the contrary, the most important reason that shield people are not good in doing business, because their spiritual pursuit. Therefore, they can't concentrate on doing. Because a person's attitude, a person's attention is a limited resource. The more you're rich in spirit, the more free time you're going to need for yourself, right? So a new rich means people just made a lot of money. Usually have very bad artistic taste and lack of culture. We say that money makes people shallow, but fortune tells shows us the other way. Shallowness is the secret of success. Because if you're shallow, then you won't be interested in the impractical stuff, and you can put all your attention on your goal. So the 10 characters are about attitude because this how you see yourself is attitude. And because it is attitude that makes a difference of people. Great philosophers comes out with great ideas not because they are clever, but because they think in a certain way we don't. Somebody are hilarious and somebody's are dull. Why is that? Is that because hilarious people can remember more jokes? I don't think so. Because the hilarious people have the hilarious, have an attitude that makes them hilarious, even they don't remember any jokes. I saw people taught politicians of how to show a dominant position, how to show they're confident by using body language. For example, they say always shake your hand from the left, so your hand will be the upper hand, and that's what politicians do. When they meet together, they first fighting for the position, the right side position, and when they shake hands with their right hand, then they will have the upper hand. I have some better ways to make you really feel the confidence, because tricks are tricks. Even you act like you're confident. If you're not, then you're not. They don't really change your mind. The easiest method is to sleep less. Maybe some people has discovered it by themselves. The more you sleep, the more conservative you become. That is why people are more adventurous in the evening. People are more bored in the evening because their brains are filled with lots of unprocessed information and become less sensitive. And if the brain becomes less sensitive, then people would become more adventurous and more confident. I saw an experiment about human characters in a Discovery show. Again, I am mentioning a Discovery show. The Discovery show, in that Discovery show, the scientists select a group of extrovert and a group of introvert with the same number of people. The scientists let them to put a drop of lemon juice on their tongues. The extrovert group produced saliva enough to lick tape and seals 16 boxes, and the introvert group produced saliva lick tape long enough to seal 24 boxes. So just to say, introvert people produce more saliva than the extrovert people. In that TV show, this experiment didn't come to any conclusion, but it is pretty obvious. Extroverts need to seek more stimulations and because their sense produce weaker signal to the brain, and that is the reason they are extrovert. They are extroverts, so they are seeking stimulations because their sensational signals are weaker than the introvert people. Scientifically, I'm trying to relate fortune telling theory to the scientific theories like neuroscience. Scientifically, even attitude is mechanical. So eventually, fortune telling and neuroscience should be related. People are afraid to make choices, but something caused us to make the choices. Because after all, attitude is a product of the brain. For example, falling in love is our feeling, but this is a hormone, is the reason. Features of money, such as realistic, adventurous, skillful, bored, shallow, womanizing, uh, high level of addictions, are all related, and they can be explained by lack of outside stimulations scientifically. So all of this can be explained by one word: lack of outside stimulation. Because they are lack of outside stimulation, then they behave like this. Many people seek thrills because they are not self-efficient in spirit, and they can't get enough pleasure from a virtual world such as reading or thinking. So, which is why they rely on the more efficient way to obtain dopamine, such as actually getting something done. Or, many people are usually addictive to something. Either they actually get something done, or they just seeking dopamine from drugs. In the previous text, I mentioned I see Charlie Sheen and Ted Williams. I thought they were rebels because they are playboys, but I was wrong. They have no rebel, but they have heavy money. It was money made them like that. I should have known because one signature of money is using drugs or heavy smoker, drinker, something. Addictions. Money is a mentality of obsession, possession, because I overcome also can signified I obsess to, I possess, because I overcome something. I overcome is my possession. So it is actually a good idea to hire a smoker or drinker when you are looking for a salesperson. So I know that the best salesperson usually are heavy drinker or smoker because I used to in that business. Many people are hard workers as well as hard players. And what pushed them to adventurous, what pushed them to working hard or playing hard, are not reasons but natural desires. And here we can see why money is a weakening character. Because money people are mm, doing things because of their natural desire. Desire consumes your inner power. Possessed by your desire is also called lose yourself. You don't live for yourself, you live for material, you don't own your life, which is why it will make people weaker. Uh, uh, because as maybe you still remember, money is a weakening character. The strengthening character is shield and strength. Talent, money, and authority are weakening character. So, in conclusion, many people are more likely to be successful because they only attracted to success. They have lower interest to impractical stuff. They climb higher. Some of them climb higher because they don't stop and smell the flowers. They are not interested in something that won't give them dopamine effectively. And as the opposite of money, guardian and owl people. Guardian and owl is called shield. Shield is something that grows me. Guardian and owl people, especially owl people, usually have a procrastination. Procrastination, that means delaying, dragging, and not doing things until the last minute. From the fortune telling perspective, shield cares and supports the self code. Shield is something support the self code. That's a true form of shield, right? So the ego has a comfort zone to stay in because something is supporting it, because part of you is supporting you. When you always tell yourself, it's okay, don't worry, what do you think will happen next? You'll delay some more, right? So scientifically, let's explain shield scientifically too. All feature of shield, such as reasonable, conservative, face-saving, good at self-control, can be explained by they are more sensitive to stimulations. So as the opposite of money. As Shakespeare said, poor and contained is rich, and rich is enough, which is why they don't keep on doing, right? Shield people are hard to driven by material desire because they can find happiness by themselves. They can produce happy. They can produce happiness. They can produce content by themselves, and that is why shield people are not willing to try new and unfamiliar things. That is another because we know shield people are conservative. That's the description, and we're not willing to try new and unfamiliar things. That's another way to say conservative. And it is understandable that shield people would like to dress simply, because when you have a colorful mind, you don't pay too much attention on Vanity Fairs. And if you don't, then then you need to pay a lot of attention. Because that's all you can do, right? So we can say the reason of shield men are not good with girl is, at least this is one of the reason, they don't really need them. To satisfy themselves. They may think they need, but they don't compared to other people. To compare to, let's say, money character. And because they don't know other people, then they don't know if that they don't really need them, or they need them not as much as those womanizer. And this is some discussion. To most people, fortune telling is somewhere between believable and unbelievable. That's most people's attitude. They believe yet unbelieve fortune telling. Like my mom told me this. Supposedly, a fortune teller told you that you would make a lot of money, so you give up work and sleep every day. Do you think the money will come to you? That's a question, and that will convince people that fortune telling don't work, right? To me, fortune telling always accurate because I know how it works. For example, money is a character that signified that indicates success, but it works in a way instead of just giving you the money, right? Um, money indicates success because of what I've already showed you. That because money is a risk-taking mentality, and that, according to the math model, would give you more chance to win. To win. I cannot fully understand everything about fortune telling, especially in the notes part. For example, one of the notes says, "Ow" at a decimal month position represents the person has a disabled sibling. I don't know. I don't know how this note works. I don't know the mechanism behind this. And this prediction doesn't work all the time. It works most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't work. And because I don't know why, so I just I all I can say is that note sometimes it works. Although I have no idea, but I know it doesn't work directly. Just like money character, it indicates success, but it doesn't send checks in your mailbox. Complex tricks like this must indicate something more essential, and A cause B, B cause C eventually lead to the phenomenon we can see. So, in conclusion, not all fortune telling predictions are accurate because we don't know why. We don't know how they really work, how fortune telling really worked. So we don't know which part could go wrong. The 10 character and the self code never wrong to me, no matter who I giving fortune telling to. I never found it wrong because it is the basics of fortune telling and it is a part I understand. So I can still recognize when they appear differently. For example, Ted Williams was not successful, but I can still see how money works on him. So in the end, science should be able to explain everything. How fortune telling works should be related to how brain works. I think I'll stop here because I'm going to the next subject. And I hope that's not too much information for you because this episode is, I think, longer than the previous ones. Well, see you in the next episode. Bye bye.